Hello, I'm Bobby Savoie, AARP Louisiana State President. I'm also the Volunteer Fraud Watch Network lead for the Louisiana State Office. Today, I will be joined by Carmen Million, President and CEO of the Better Business Bureau of South Central Louisiana. We'll be talking about holiday fraudsters and what we should be looking out for. So, Carmen, thank you for joining us again today to have this conversation about these fraudsters and how we might be able to protect ourselves. So we know that the holidays mean family, friends, and unfortunately, fraud. Scammers use this time of year as an opportunity to target potential victims during this season of cheer. So, Carmen, I understand you guys are noticing an increase in the number of calls that you're receiving, and we can talk about some of those today. One in particular deals with fraudulent door-to-door salespeople. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, anytime you're going to have consumers that are at home, and they're more available now, so they're at home, they are going to receive door-to-door salespeople. And what we want consumers to understand when we're talking about door-to-door sales is that somebody knocks on your door, no matter what their offer is, they should have a permit to solicit. So we want you to understand that there are certain rules that they have to abide by, and you need to protect yourself. So somebody's coming to your door, whether they're trying to sell you something, whether they're trying to do anything with to do with what's in the news today, because they will use those topics. Don't let them in your home. You need to get identification from them, investigate, and if you're concerned at all, we recommend consumers contact the local sheriff's department. You may know better, but you may have a senior neighbor that doesn't, and they could be a potential victim.
So let me ask you this. Do you know for door-to-door sales, you said they have to have a permit. Is that something that they can carry, that they should be carrying with them if they soliciting?
Absolutely. If a company's going to come into our area and they're going to solicit our consumers, whether they're local or out of state, they're required to get that permit, and they should carry it on them. And you cannot just assume, if you ask them, do you have a permit, that they actually have a permit. We well know that companies advertise all the time that they're licensed, bonded, and insured, and we find in some cases that's not true. So just because they tell you that doesn't mean it's a fact. Investigate. You're not only protecting yourself, but you're protecting your neighbors, other neighbors that may not be as strong as you are. So it doesn't matter who they are, if they knock on your door, don't let them in your house, especially this time of the year.
Yeah, and I guess a good rule of thumb is ask and verify, with the emphasis on verify.
Absolutely.
So I think another scam that I think is important to discuss is the utility scam that seems to be on the increase in our area. What do our viewers need to be aware of about the utility scam?
Well, first of all, the utility scam is an old scam. It's been around for years. Unfortunately, it continues to evolve every year. And what people need to understand is that utility company, whether it's Entergy or any other utility company, they're not going to call you on the phone to have you pay a bill that is supposedly delinquent or not paid. They're going to send you a disconnect notice in writing in the mail. And so anytime somebody uses scare tactics, fear, if you don't, your electric bill has not been paid, we haven't received payment, and if you don't make arrangements to pay immediately, we're going to disconnect you. Not only does this scam affect consumers, but it affects businesses. I mean, think about a restaurant. If they were told within so many hours, if they didn't make a payment, that they would have their electricity cut off, that's concerning. That's their business. That's their livelihood. But you could have a senior citizen that's on oxygen or something, that fear will force them to make a bad decision. But we want consumers to understand that utility companies never call you to let you know they're going to disconnect you, and they will never collect money. So if they're asking for you to wire money, or if they're asking you for your bank account number, or if they're asking you to buy a cash card, a green dot money pack cord or something, and give them the numbers. Those are all warning signs. And we always tell people, if somebody calls you with a threat and they're using a well-known name, don't give them information. Hang up the phone and call the company from one of your invoices.
Yeah, and I guess that's the key. You know, when we get a bill from these from our utility companies, we have their contact information. So if it's a question, you know, call the utility company directly.
Absolutely.
We know that due to COVID-19, many holiday shopping fairs, like pop-up markets and craft fairs, are going virtual, like many of our events here at AARP. And we've heard that scammers are also going virtual and looking for ways to steal from us. So I've seen some of the interviews that you've done with the local television stations about these virtual scammers. What can you tell, again, what can you tell our viewers about the virtual scammers?
Well, first of all, we have to understand that business is different now. It's different for you, it's different for me, and it's different for any other agency that's out there trying to stay relevant. And so these companies that have fairs or things that you normally would have people come in and purchase, you know, they have those Christmas things where you can buy Christmas ornaments, what have you. Those companies still, or those organizations still want to be effective and sell their wares, but scammers know this, and they know that most people are going to be interested. So if you receive a link or a pop-up or something that invites you to one of these fairs, and they're asking you for personal information, a banking account information, if they're asking you to pay a fee up front, those are all warning signs. The best thing to do is, one, not click on a pop-up that you didn't ask for, that you're not familiar with. And the second thing, of course, is if you think that there is a fair that you would like to be interested in, you need to contact that company directly. Now, having said that, again, companies are also potential victims. The people that actually sell their products can be contacted by these scammers. So anytime you receive an unsolicited contact and they're asking for personal information, then that's a sign of caution. And if they are asking you to pay money up front, that's a sign of caution. Investigate, contact the Better Business Bureau if you're not familiar with the particular offer. You can also contact the city or the parish, wherever you are, and find out what is happening in your area and get the proper contact information to investigate yourself.
Right. Again, the key words there: investigate and do your homework, because what we know about scammers is that they're opportunists and they'll pivot quickly to whatever they feel is the scam du jour.
Absolutely.
Fake charities. So if we can talk about fake charities for a minute, and it's unfortunate that during this time, COVID-19, Thanksgiving, Christmas, season of giving, and with so many of our friends and neighbors out of work because of COVID-19, scammers are posing as fake charities. And I guess the biggest question would be, you know, how can we tell if a charity is real or fake, if that charity is who it says it is, and if the contributions that we make are going to where they say it's going?
Well, that's always a good question. First of all, we know the need is there, especially now more than ever. But we want consumers and potential donors to give with their heart, but we also want them to give with their head. We always tell people, if you give and it makes you feel good, but the money didn't go to the cause, you've defeated the purpose of giving. So again, that word comes right back up: investigate. The Better Business Bureau has a website, bbb.org. You can go to our website and you can check on charities nationwide. It will tell you if it meets our standards, if it does not meet certain standards, why it doesn't meet those standards, because we evaluate charities on 21 standards. So that's one way to check it out. Just because somebody calls you and tells you they're asking for donations for a particular organization doesn't automatically mean that's the fact. You need to ask questions. You need to know who they are, where they are, how much of the money that you're actually giving is going to the cause. Is there a professional promoter involved, and what percentage they're giving? You want to make sure that before you make a decision that you have all the information so you can make an informed decision, because ultimately people want the money to go where they expect it to go. And so again, you want to investigate, you want to do your homework, but you also want to be very cautious. You know, seniors are the biggest group of people that love to help people because they, have at some point in their life were in need. But what they feel like in some cases the calls that we get that they feel that they are uh, unhelpful if they don't give a donation. The caller may make them feel bad. They may call them names if they don't give donations. We've had that before. So what we want people to do is, in fact, our advice is to pick one or two organizations that you feel close to, that you feel like that you can give, you investigated, and give your money to those organizations. And then, especially, local, we want you to try as much as you can to go local, but make sure you pick those out. And then when anybody else calls and you aren't able to make that donation, there's nothing wrong with saying, I'm sorry, I've already met my allotment and I can't make any more donations. Don't be afraid and don't be intimidated into giving a donation. The other thing is if somebody asks you for a donation and you change your mind, you're not legally responsible to give that donation. You can change your mind at any time. And if they tell you they're with a certain organization, whether it's the police department, the sheriff's department, don't assume that it's real. Investigate before you invest.
Right. I think generally speaking, we have good hearts, and we often take people at their word because, I mean, we just don't tell untruths to other folks. Unfortunately, scammers really don't care, and it doesn't care. They don't care about the time of year or the event, and we have such a need now, especially during this time of COVID-19 and the two devastating hurricanes that we've had in Louisiana, floods, and scammers using fake charities come out of the woodwork. And I think you said it. Do your homework, check it out, make sure it is who it is, and if you can give, you can donate, and you have a favorite charity, go directly to that charity. Make that phone call yourself. You don't have to be solicited, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So we know that the surge in scams during the holidays isn't something new. Why do you think that scammers prey on victims during these kinds of times? Not only holidays, but after devastating hurricanes and floods. And what are your thoughts on what we can do to protect ourselves?
Well, we know that disasters bring out the best in people. Unfortunately, it also brings out scammers. And so, what we tell consumers is you've already been victimized by a scam, whether it's a hurricane or a flood or what have you. Don't allow yourself to be a victim again. So, you need to be your own best investigator. You need to be the first person to try to protect yourself. You need to do your homework. Don't let the situation you're in um, convince you to make a bad decision. I'm from the Lake Charles area, and so I know most of my family are homeless, so I understand that need. But when you allow somebody to take advantage of you, and you're just victimized again. So you want to make sure that you follow the rules, that you do your homework. I keep saying that, but it's so true. You have to investigate. You want to make sure that you know who you're dealing with, that you've investigated their background, you've done all that. In fact, the Better Business Bureau will do some of that for you. But you need to make sure that whatever they tell you, you receive in writing. That verbal means nothing. Again, I said this earlier, they can tell you that they're licensed, bonded, insured. It doesn't matter. you need to make them show you proof. And if they can't, you need to move on. Anytime somebody uses pressure, whether they're trying to get you to hire them, whether they're trying to get you to make a donation, whether they're trying to get you to purchase something, if there's pressure involved, that's a warning sign. You should be given enough time to investigate, to check on references, to do your homework. You should be given that time, and if you are not, you need to make time. And there's nothing wrong with saying, you know what, I'm not interested right now. If they tell you it's an hour never deal, you probably dodged a bullet. So you want to make sure that you investigate. You want to make sure that you protect yourself. And unfortunately, again, in times of disasters, they are going to come out of the woodwork. And we've seen it time and time again.
Yes. And, I guess the common theme that runs through all of these, how can we protect ourselves from these scammers, is to look for the warning signs. Don't make that hasty decision. Investigate, do your research, and then the Better Business Bureau can help. So,
absolutely.
So something else that's recently been in the news, in fact, in the last couple of days, and that's kind of why I bring it up this afternoon, is the jury duty scam. So we know that local police departments have gotten some of these calls, but have you received any of the calls, and what can you tell us about the jury duty scam?
Well, we get those calls all the time. Again, it's another scam that's been around for years, and it pops up periodically. And the reason this particular scam works, in fact, the reason most of these scams work is because they're based on fear. They will contact a consumer and they will tell them that they missed jury duty. And everybody knows that they cannot miss jury duty. So immediately warning bells go off, you're scared, fear sets in, and they say, well, we even have a bench warrant for your arrest because you didn't show up. So we're going to, we've talked to the judge and we're going to allow you to get out of it. You just have to pay a penalty. Well, you never have to pay money to be on a jury, and you can't pay to get off serving on a jury. But again, those scams work because they're based on fear. And so we do see these periodically. We do get calls on them. And again, if something about the call sounds fishy, if it sounds, if there's something wrong, and I always tell people, if you get that funny feeling in your belly that tells you there's something wrong, listen to it. It will never steer you wrong. But you need to hang up the phone and call local courthouse, law enforcement, and let them know that you've received a call, and they will probably reassure you that this is a scam.
Yeah, and I guess it's take a breath and think about it. The jury duty scam reminds me a little about when you're driving at night or even in the daytime, and you see the police lights go off behind you. Well, you may not have been violating any traffic laws, but you get that lump in your throat going, maybe I did, and you're a little bit concerned about it. And so it's the fear factor.
Absolutely.
So Carmen, we're about to wrap up. If you have any final thoughts or comments before we end our conversation, now would be the time. And then if our viewers want to contact you, how can they reach you?
Well, first of all, the final thing I want to say is I want to tell consumers, investigate before you invest. When in doubt, always check it out. You can contact the Better Business Bureau. If you feel like you've been a victim of a scam, you need to go to our website at bbb.org/scam tracker, and you can log a scam there. And that allows us to know what scams are hitting the area. So that's very important. And the main thing is you can contact us anytime at our phone number. You can call us, you can go to our website, you can file a complaint, check on a company, log a scam at bbb.org, or of course you can always email us.
Okay, thank you, Carmen. And as always, it's been great talking with you again today. On behalf of AARP Louisiana, I want to thank you for your time and for joining us today. It's been great information that you shared with us and our viewers, and I think it will be helpful to our viewers, and we're all appreciative. To our viewers, we can all be fraud fighters. I want to encourage you to be a fraud fighter. If you can spot a scam, you can stop a scam. And as we said earlier, report scams to local law enforcement. For help from AARP, you can call 1-877-908-3360, or you can visit the AARP Fraud Watch Network at www.aarp.org/fraudwatchnetwork. You can also text FWN to 50757 to receive biweekly alerts from the Fraud Watch Network. And remember to stay safe and stay strong, Louisiana. Please be considerate of others. Continue to wear your face coverings. Wash your hands often. Keep your distance from others. And stay home if you're sick. Thank you for joining us today, and until next time, goodbye.